So I had a call with my buddy who did almost 200 million in acquisitions advisory deals. And actually was one of the people who inspired me to start our acquisitions advisory program and platform and almost make it like a brokerage for business advisors. But the beauty is that it's not like real estate brokers. It's people who don't need license, who can actually basically get 1 to 10% of business acquisition transactions and or roll-ups, right? So look, I'll share with you a bit about our conversation with my buddy. I mean, he's in his 50s. He paid like $60,000 franchise fees to just upfront to be in one of the biggest national brokerage firm out there, plus a percentage of every deal for royalty, plus a monthly retainer, right? Plus they forced him back when he started to do a broker license. And the first thing he told me is that he told me like, I wish I knew what I know today back then and had access to a brand like yours, like the acquisitions.com brand. Like I would do deals, the same amount of deals in half the time, if not faster. And that's why I also think like what we're doing with our acquisitions.com advisory platform is just a steal as far as our pricing, right? Anyway, side note, I mean, look, the guy, super smart. He's working at this point with tons of investment banking and big, massive firms that you'll recognize immediately, and big management consultant firms. And if he's telling that, I mean, I really like that. So here are some notes from the conversation I had with him that we had a back and forth that I think you can take for yourself and learn a lot for it if you want to become an advisor as well, and get paid 1 to 10% of transactions value of multi-million dollar business acquisitions, right, or roll-ups. So I'll basically spread it into few topics, right? So first topic we discussed was all about deal flow and the fact that door knocking still works. Like he's an old school guy, right? And he told me that in one afternoon he was able to get 7 different multi-million dollar companies to sign exclusive agreement with him to allow him to sell their business and give him anywhere from 5 to 10% of the deal, right? So it's not the worst month or even a quarter or a year if all of the profit, if basically the 5 to 10% is all profit into your pocket by connecting to buyers, right? So it's basically assuming it's 5 million on average, that's 1.75 million to his pocket. Not too bad. Basically door knocking, going to businesses in his area and just introducing himself to business owners and telling them, hey, have you ever thought about selling your business? Just think about it. If you sell 7 companies in the next year for 5 million each, an average price, right? Not too bad. So moving me to the second topic we discussed, which is all about understanding that building your skill can really help you charge more money. So on deals that he charged 10%, he usually supported not just in finding buyers, but also supported in structuring the deal, in completing the transaction with the team of accountants and lawyers, in supporting the negotiation. He was also super comfortable with numbers like financials and helped also create many times kind of like a summary PDF on the business. And he constantly took more training to be good with people, with sales, with his presentation or sales skills, basically. The third topic we discussed was all about the fact that centralized support system that at least he had for them as a broker or M&A specialist. I mean, it was always helpful, especially when he was a newbie, right? Because, I mean, obviously he told me, man, he wished that he received the support that we are bringing or going to give our advisors, which is basically at this point acquisitions.com branding and email and bio page and listing page and affiliate opportunity, and in the future awesome software as well. So he told me, look, that support in the beginning was the difference between me having confidence to do this or not. Because the first deal is the most challenging. If you've never done anything before, the first time you're going to do it is going to be the scariest. You're going to have doubts, you're going to have fears. But after you do it once or twice and you have someone to give you that support in those transactions, I mean, man, it's like you're going to get to a point where it's boring, right? And when it's boring, that's where you can really master and become the best at it. Anyway, fourth topic that we discussed was how important training is, right? The training is super important because he told me he learned everything he needed to learn in an intensive 2-week training, basically from morning to night. Right after he paid his $60,000 licensing fee or franchise fee, and he was able to learn all about mergers and acquisitions and business brokerage terms and processes. And so, like I said in the previous one, if you want to learn how to make 1-2 million a year from just introducing buyers to sellers, you got to learn the skills. You got to have training. You got to have some mentorship to give you the confidence, to give you the clarity, right? Fifth lesson is that you don't need broker license to do deals. So he studied separately few months, and that's a lot of time, to get a broker license that he wish he didn't, because nowadays there are ways to structure deals where you don't necessarily need to do that, right? Which obviously we provide in kind of like our acquisitions advisors option with templates and whatnot. There's a lot of ways to do that, but you don't need to go and study, for a few months, get a broker license and try to get deals going. There are ways to do it without it. Next topic you talked about is the idea of finding business buyer first. Think about it. If you find like a private equity fund or a big company, you can then find deals based on their criteria, right? You can take those deals that you find to someone that is ready to buy as soon as possible and have the capital, right? You probably know the size of their fund or size of their business or their requirements or what's their minimum or maximum check size that they're willing to put. And then after you have a legit buyer, you then look for listings or companies that match what they want to buy, right? And obviously you can try to take retainer from both. You can take a percentage here, a few points there. But if you start with a buyer, it's almost like a more of a certain way to get your commission faster. And then when you know who's your buyer, you can start to get information on the potential sellers, on any business that they basically need or want or look for. You can pull from different sources, a range of data on the size of the business, on the employees, on the team members, on the key decision maker to get in touch with. And the numbers usually go something like this. So let's say you go and focus on 1,000 companies to focus on. Let's say 50 or 60 are the most targeted ones based on the criteria of the buyers. You go out there, you make 20, 30 phone calls or outreach efforts online, and you can generate interest probably from around 10 of them, which converts into about 6 listings, like exclusive listings of people who are serious. You sign an agreement with them that suggests that you represent them, ideally, like I said, exclusively. And when I'm saying exclusively, at least for some kind of a defined amount of time, right? Let's say you have the next year exclusively to find a buyer. And then you can get upwards of 10 commission of that, right? Of the deal. So when you have a buyer finding sellers next, it's a very smooth way to go through the process. Next topic we talked about is the fact that bigger deals just require more confidence. That's it, but it's the same process. Because bigger deals means that usually you'll need to deal with more sophisticated sellers. Like you'll need to learn the language of business owners if you don't have any experience, and you'll just find out that at, let's say, 10 to 50 million kind of like evaluation, you just have more savvy sellers. So they might do different structures or ask for a different commission structure for you, so you don't necessarily get the 5 to 10. But yeah, even if you think about a few companies at 10% and overall keep a general rule to hopefully stick to at least 5 to 10% fee if you're working with a seller, you'll be good. So even if you get a bit less percentage from bigger businesses, it's still worth it because it's higher numbers, right? Let's say you get 5% of a, $50 million deal instead of 10% of a $10 million deal, then, it's still worth it. You'll make double. Next topic we discussed was that you need to weed out like good listings as soon as possible. So because there are a lot of kick tires that are going to waste your time, and you don't want to waste your time and your money, right? So ideally, first of all, if you can get upfront retainers whenever you can, like it just shows that they have skin in the game, right? And people pay attention and see your value more. Otherwise, people can change their mind later on and not to do a deal. And yeah, me and my buddy just talked that we both wished that we got business owners, buyers or sellers to put some skin in the game before we work with them to find buyers or sellers on just commission. So yeah, definitely something to keep in mind. And the next topic is that we discussed just about the value that we provide to sellers specifically. So the biggest value that we provide to sellers is the fact that, first of all, we help sellers understand the process. We help them know that they are doing the right thing at the right time in their age or their circumstances. It's giving them the confidence that they're doing the right thing, right? And the fact that others at their age are doing the same or figuring out on how to do the same as them at their age. So giving a lot of certainty, a lot of confidence, and compiling financials, right? So sometimes it depends. If you get the 10%, like if we get the 10%, we might not just do basic like introduction, but we might just do some basic restatement of financials or cleanups, but in some cases it's literally just telling them, hey, here's what we need, let's arrange it in a certain way and let's just present it to the buyer. Simple as that, right? So, and it's basically as simple as giving them our checklist on what we need and just send it to the seller or buyer, right? So we had scenarios where we discussed on the fact that, yeah, we restated or recrafted financials because some owners, a lot of them, if you look at financials of businesses, they got tons of expenses on the books. And the buyer numbers could look better if we add the personal stuff to the EBITDA basically. So yeah, we controlled what things needed to be added or left out and how to put it in hopefully some kind of a graphic or presentation so we can present to others. So yeah, just overall being willing to invest, let's say 1 to 3 hours to put financials together in a nice way and put a good summary or a template or some sort of a way to just help the client to make their business look good for perhaps both buyers and sellers. And it's not a must, but yeah, might just make you look more professional and help you close the deal. Anyway, yeah, hopefully it was valuable to some of you. Let me know in the comments below if you're still watching what is the favorite topic that we discussed in the comments below. And if we get to 20 comments, I'll pick one of you to do one-on-one. I love you. Bye-bye.